Hi, this is Dr. Patrick Cunningham, Associate Professor of Mechanical Engineering at Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology. Welcome back to the Skillful Learning series on metacognition. Recall that metacognition is the knowledge and regulation of our own thinking processes. In this video, reflecting on our thinking, we will focus on how we evaluate our thinking after a learning experience. That is, metacognitive evaluation. Evaluation is one of the actions within metacognitive regulation. Metacognitive evaluation is looking back after completing a learning experience, for example, an assignment, exam, study session, or course, to connect our preparations, strategy choices, and performance for the purpose of reinforcing things that went well and identifying the things we still need to improve. As we engage in this evaluation, we expand and refine our metacognitive knowledge, including knowledge of persons, tasks, and strategies. To help illustrate metacognitive evaluation, let's consider the experiences of students Joe and Sue on a recent exam. For a recent engineering exam, Joe crammed all night the night before and did not feel well prepared. However, when he received his graded exam back, he saw that he had an A and was pleased with the result. He wanted to just file the exam away, but the professor required that he go over the exam using something called an exam wrapper. As part of this, Joe went through problem by problem to review his work. Doing this, he realized that he did not remember why he did what he did, and he would need to put in extra time relearning the material before the final exam. For the same exam, Sue had multiple short study sessions spread over several days, and felt that she had a good understanding of the concepts. She and a friend had even tested each other with problems they had made up. But Sue received a grade much lower than she expected. She went through the graded exam to see if her professor had made any grading mistakes, but found instead that she had made many conceptual errors. For the exam wrapper, Sue went through problem by problem, noting the details of her mistakes and reworking the problems she missed. You may have had similar experiences. Regardless, taking time to reflect on completed learning experiences is an important part of learning and becoming a more skillful learner. Whether that learning experience is a lecture, a homework assignment, an exam, or even an entire course. When Joe evaluated his study efforts and exam performance, he realized that he got lucky and had seen several of the exact same problems with different numbers during his all-night study session, and was able to duplicate the steps to solve the problems. In his exam wrapper analysis, Joe discovered that he relied on pattern matching, and his good grade, at least initially, reinforced an illusion of comprehension. That is, confusing familiarity with concepts with understanding concepts. He also noted that his mass practice, that is, studying in one long session, was ineffective at building deep and lasting understanding. Further, he acknowledged that his lack of sleep inhibited consolidation of his study session into long-term memory. Joe now realized that cramming so much information in one setting late at night negatively impacted his learning in the course. Now he would have to spend extra study time before the final exam to relearn the material in addition to studying the new material. For the next exam, Joe vowed to spread out his studying, that is, distribute his practice, to work blank problems, explore and work variations of solved problems, and to get a good night's sleep the night before the exam. All things known to promote deeper understanding and long-term memory. When Sue evaluated her efforts and performance, she noticed mistakes, such as using conservation of energy instead of conservation of momentum, even though she understood those concepts and knew it was not correct as she looked at it now. She also noticed calculation and units mistakes. Sue had used good study strategies, distributing her practice over several days, and deeply engaging with the concepts by making up problems and explaining her solutions to a friend. And she was frustrated about these errors. Sue wondered what had happened. As she continued to reflect on the exam, Sue realized that she had not eaten breakfast before the exam, and she had received a phone call from her mom with bad news that made her worry. She rushed through the exam with her stomach growling in hopes of eating sooner and calling her mom back. While the lower grade was frustrating, Sue was at least glad that she understood the material. For the next exam, Sue vowed to continue preparing several days ahead of the exam, to use elaborative strategies, to eat breakfast, and to take time to review her work before turning in her exam. She also thought it might have been a good idea to talk to the professor about the emotional distraction related to her mom's phone call. Perhaps she could have taken the exam later or taken a makeup exam when she had a clearer mind. There are many ways to evaluate our learning, but you have to make time to do it. As you reflect on your learning experiences, use the following types of questions to help you evaluate them. How did the learning experience go? Did you meet your personal goals? Did you identify specific learning goals for the experience? Did you meet the intended learning goals of the assignment, exam, or course? That is, what it was designed for. How did you prepare for and execute the learning experience? Describe what you did. What was the learning experience? How did you approach it? That is, what strategy or strategies did you use? Where did you do it? When did you do it? How long did it last? Were there any other factors that impacted your ability to focus and think clearly, such as sleep habits, exercise, nutrition, or your emotional state? Why were you successful? Or why did you struggle? Analyze what you did. Do your learning strategies go beyond memorization and rehearsal? Are you pushing towards elaborating on and organizing course concepts? Are you actively engaging with course material through things like explaining concepts to others? Are you intentionally making things meaningful and memorable to yourself? Are you keeping track of how things are going? Are you monitoring yourself as you go through a learning experience? How are you checking your understanding? How do you know that you know what you know? Are you regulating your sleep habits, your exercise, your nutrition, and your emotions? As you answer these questions, you will be expanding and refining your metacognitive knowledge. That is, knowledge of persons, tasks, and strategies. Take note of these areas of growth. Honest self-evaluation can be challenging, but it is rewarding. You will have more accurate understanding of yourself and better alignment of your strategies to your learning goals, setting you up for success. The most important part of metacognitive evaluation is that it gives you control over your learning. As a result of your evaluations, what will you make sure you keep doing or make sure you do differently next time to achieve your learning goals and become a more skillful and successful learner? Make specific plans that you can realistically implement in your next learning experience. In summary, evaluation provides knowledge and understanding through self-reflection that can lead us to improve our approaches to learning and to become more skillful learners. I want to leave you with 3 thoughts. Take time at the end of a learning experience to reflect on and evaluate it. Make sure you seek to understand yourself, the task, and the strategies. Be self-critical, be honest, and avoid the illusion of comprehension. Remember, we need to combat our tendency to do what is familiar and comfortable, whether or not it is the most effective and efficient approach. Finally, make realistic and well-reasoned plans for successful learning. That is, note, continue, and expand good approaches to learning, and modify ineffective or inefficient approaches to learning. Thank you again for your attention as we have looked at reflecting on our thinking. That is, evaluating our learning and thinking processes. I hope this helps you to see yourself more accurately and to continue to grow as a skillful learner.